In the early days of Starfleet, before the United Federation of Planets, humans had very few starships to defend themselves and explore with. While the NX-01 Enterprise would be the lead ship of the tiny fleet, Starfleet would make use of other smaller craft to defend Earth, while Captain Archer and his crew were off finding the next best thing. Introducing the Intrepid Type Light Cruiser, seen in Star Trek Enterprise defending Earth from enemy ships, and probably exploring stuff too. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack, let's get into this video. Before we warp into all the juicy details you're after, keep up to date with the latest Star Trek news, lore and more by hitting that subscribe button. We've just passed 100k and can't wait to bring you the latest Star Trek lore, more, and everything else under the tin. Hey, you can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. But as always, please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. We want to know what ship to cover next, so get commenting with suggestions. Okay, engage. The Intrepid-class Light Cruiser was in service in the early 22nd century, before the NX-class was launched. The ship comes in at a short but reasonable 165 meters, comprised of 7 decks, lettered A to G, staffed with 46 crew members with a maximum warp speed of 3.5. It is compact but agile, equipped with phase cannons and 2 torpedo launchers and the standard hull polarization defense system. Its primary mission was to act as part of the space defense fleet for Earth and its off-world colonies in the Sol system, Alpha Centauri, Deneva, Terra Nova, and Vega colony. As a forerunner to the NX class, and although less advanced, the primary hull features a half saucer, but its overall shape and configuration were very similar to the design of the Starfleet used for the NX, and Starship descendants well into the 24th century. A familiar feature and placement is its navigation deflector, which is located in the cutout section and the leading edge of a saucer, along with the sensor pallets. A symmetrical warp field governor, which regulates the warp field, is located atop the short engineering section, midway between the nacelle support pylons, which position the nacelles themselves further forward, overlapping a significant portion of the primary hull. They're much shorter than the later NX class, and feature stabilizing fins on the outer aft edge. The impulse engines are located on the outer edge of the aft of the saucer. In Star Trek Beta canon, after the Earth-Romulan War, as a part of the United Earth Space Probe Agency, Chief of Staff Admiral Jonathan Archer and Alpha Centauri's Chief of Staff Alexei Osman's Fleet Modernization Program introduced a new wave of Intrepid that were put into production and the existing ships underwent refit. New engine cores allowed them to reach a top speed of 5.6 for a limited time, with a cruising speed of warp 4. Upgraded to carry deflector shields and equipped with tractor beams, which it definitely did not leave space dock without. It was installed on Tuesday. The United Earth government existed as early as the 2130s. Its primary space defense and exploration organization was led by the United Earth Space Probe Agency, the UESPA, which had integrated itself with Starfleet Command as the leading United Earth Space Exploration Service. By the mid-22nd century, Starfleet was operating several types of warp-capable vessels. One of these was the Intrepid type ship, with others including the Warp Delta, which was an even older design. If you want a closer look at some of these pre-Federation starships, we recently did a video looking at that, so take a look. The Intrepid type, as a part of the defense fleet, was also accompanied by the Warp Delta ships. When the NX-01 Enterprise was ambushed by a Klingon bird of prey on a return to Earth, Delta Wing, including the UES Intrepid, with a couple of Warp Deltas, was able to cause enough damage to a bird of prey, forcing its retreat. The vessel type was intended to be a backup in case the Warp 5 program went belly up and the NX-class components needed to be repurposed. But after the success of Enterprise, much to Vulcan's negative smug grittiness attitude, Starfleet saw no reason to let their work go to waste. So the Intrepid's lead ship of the class, the Intrepid, was commissioned and launched in 2153, under the command of Captain Carlos Ramirez. In an alternate future, the Intrepid was part of a few surviving Earth ships of the Xindi Earth War. Along with the NX-01 Enterprise, she escorted a small convoy of the remaining 600 humans to a ramshackle colony on Ceti Alpha 5. The Intrepid and the remaining Starfleet ships were stationed in orbit, but would make routine patrols of the system in order to detect any potential threats. The colony came under attack from the Xindi. At first, they were able to destroy 2 enemy starships. More Xindi ships arrived and they didn't stand a chance. Already battered and bruised, the Intrepid lost her port nacelle during a fight, and was forced to retreat, though the ship herself did survive. Newly promoted Captain Malcolm Reed, though still serving as an army officer in Enterprise, awaiting an appropriate time to hand over, was intended to be the commanding officer of the Intrepid in this alternate timeline. There is some conflicting information on whether or not the Intrepid preceded or succeeded the launch of the NX-01 Enterprise, given that the leader of the class was the same name. However, it would stand to reason the type of ship was in service before the launch, but received significant upgrades following the data and technology collected by the NX-01, and the improved version was put into service as a class instead of a type, with the first being named after the class itself, and where the idea for this stemmed from in-universe. It's just speculation, given the NX-01 was an Enterprise class as initially intended by designer Doug Drexler. Now really, that's all we know about the ship class in Alpha canon. There are some beta sources we can use to flesh out the ship and its history as well as the legacy. In 2155, during the Earth-Romulan War, it was decided to halt production of the Intrepid and NX-class starships by Prime Minister Nathan Samuels, in favour of the Daedalus-class vessels, as it was much more efficient to build the Daedalus class than either of the others. For example, it would be 3 Daedaluses to 2 Intrepid or 1 NX class. As said previously, the Intrepid was upgraded as part of a fleet modernisation program after the Earth-Romulan War. One of the famous ships of the newly refitted Intrepid class was the USS Pioneer NTC-63, which was under the command of Captain Malcolm Reed, and even later under the command of Captain Carolina Paris, yes, from Matt Paris family, who go all the way to Tom Paris of the USS Voyager in the 24th century. This would be the only legacy Starfleet family serving on board the Intrepid, with the ship's historian being named Samuel Abraham Kirk, father to Tiberius Kirk and great-grandfather to the famous James Tiberius Kirk. Under the command of Captain Malcolm Reed, the USS Pioneer, whose first officer was Commander Travis Mayweather, would go on numerous missions, working with Tobin Dax to improve warp efficiency while he was chief engineer, helping get the Relagilians into the Federation, and even dealing with the Ware, the name of the automated space dock seen in Star Trek Enterprise, that worked off living beings. Creepy. After this Ware threat was dealt with, command of the Intrepid was transferred to Carolina Paris, as Malcolm Reed would be promoted to adjutant to Admiral Archer. Interestingly enough, this would not be the only Intrepid-class starship in Starfleet, with the Intrepid class being given to the name of the USS Voyager. Why this decision was made is unknown, but could perhaps relate to the Intrepid class being a variable geometry warp nacelles, and the original Intrepid class being known for its advancements in warp theory with Dr. Tobin Dax. It's just a theory, but some of it does make sense, and that's a Star Trek theory. So let's look at some of the behind-the-scenes information. The Intrepid type originally came about from drawings done by John Eves, based on the NX class model, and the model was essentially a kit badge when its CGI model was created. It was built by Pierre Drouot and Rob Bruchain. Some of the concepts John Eves came up with were very similar to what we got as an end result, but some other Starfleet vessels wouldn't be seen, with saucer cutouts and Akira-style ship layouts. As with most ship designs, several iterations were drawn up. Some of these concepts are on screen now, with the one on the left looking very similar to the USS Franklin from Star Trek Beyond, and the saucer cutout is a feature unique to the Crossfield class, so someone had that in mind at some point. Anyway, the whole point of the Enterprise was that the NX-01 was Starfleet's first true starship, therefore the art department simply never designed any other 22nd century vessels. Whether they have a Starfleet armada that wants ships to look good in battle, they weren't easily mistaken to be the Enterprise, meaning they've got some of the similar elements, but when it comes to how a saucer looks and the composition of the nacelles on the body, they've got a very distinct shape. Even though they were background ships, they had to stand out and be unique. Now, a little fun way to tie everything up, Rob Bruchain, one of the hands who worked on the Intrepid type, also worked on Star Trek Voyager, the ship itself being an Intrepid, which in turn was kitbashed into the Jaeger class of Deep Space Nine, which he also worked on. In a way, he had a hand on various iterations of the Intrepid thus far, and is technically the father of the design. Pretty cool, right? But what do you think of the Intrepid-class Light Cruiser? Perhaps there's a specific ship you want us to cover. Let us know, and it may appear in an upcoming video. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends. Goodbye.